Have you ever come across the vast amount of information about diets, particularly the famous low-carb diet? As we seek ways to improve our health, we often encounter various nutritional approaches, and the low-carb diet certainly doesn't go unnoticed. But are all the benefits attributed to it truly supported by science? What are the principles behind this approach? And, perhaps more importantly, is it suitable for everyone? In this exploration journey, we question and investigate the low-carb diet, unraveling myths and exposing truths. After all, what does science tell us about its effects, especially regarding blood sugar control? Get ready for an in-depth analysis as we explore every aspect of this diet and seek enlightening answers to help you make informed decisions about your nutritional path. Is the low-carb diet really a perfect fit for everyone, or are there nuances we need to consider? The answer lies in the search for the scientific truth behind the diet that has sparked so much interest and discussion. Unveiling the intricate benefits of the low-carb diet in glucose management, i.e. reduction of carbohydrate intake and glycemic response. The low-carb diet proposes a radical change in nutritional composition, significantly reducing carbohydrates. This adjustment aims to redefine how the body uses glucose, avoiding unwanted spikes in blood levels and promoting more precise control. 2. Post-meal glycemic control. Carbohydrate restriction in the low-carb diet is not just about quantity but the quality of foods consumed. This approach aims to minimize post-meal glycemic response, providing a smooth and stable curve in glucose levels, crucial for metabolic health. 3. Promotion of insulin sensitivity. The low-carb diet extends beyond glucose. It directly influences insulin action. Carbohydrate reduction favors insulin sensitivity, making cells more receptive to this essential hormone in glycemic control. 4. Reduction of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance, often associated with type 2 diabetes, is addressed by the low-carb diet in a multifaceted manner. Insulin regulation is optimized, decreasing resistance and allowing better glucose management. Reduced need for hypoglycemic medications. The effectiveness of the low-carb diet is often reflected in reduced dependence on medications. This not only indicates more efficient glycemic control but also highlights the possibility of a less pharmacological approach in diabetes management. 6. Stability of fasting glucose levels. Beyond post benefits, the low-carb diet contributes to the stability of glucose levels during fasting. This not only provides metabolic comfort but also reduces the body's exposure to abrupt glucose variations. 7. Reduction of hemoglobin A1C. Hemoglobin A1C, a crucial measure for assessing long-term glycemic control, often decreases in response to the low-carb diet. This reduction reflects not only punctual glucose management but also the sustainability of metabolic control. 8. Improvement in cardiovascular health. The benefits of the low-carb diet extend beyond glucose, positively impacting cardiovascular health. Reduction in triglycerides and an increase in HDL cholesterol are essential components of this improvement, highlighting the comprehensiveness of the approach. 9. Sustainable weight loss. The relationship between the low-carb diet and weight loss is multifactorial. Besides calorie restriction, the change in macronutrient composition influences metabolic adaptations, making weight loss sustainable and contributing to better insulin sensitivity. Maintenance of energy and satiety. The careful choice of protein and healthy fats in the low-carb diet not only facilitates weight loss but also maintains stable energy levels and prolongs the feeling of satiety. This not only eases adherence to the diet but also positively influences glycemic management. 11. Potential benefits in type 2 diabetes prevention. Studies indicate that the low-carb diet may play a preventive role in type 2 diabetes, especially in individuals with risk factors. The promotion of insulin sensitivity and glycemic control contributes to this preventive facet, emphasizing the diet's importance as a public health strategy. 12. Metabolic adaptation and ketosis. Metabolic adaptation to the low-carb diet, often resulting in ketosis, is a fascinating aspect of this approach. The use of ketone bodies as an energy source has implications not only in glycemic management but also in broader metabolic regulation. The low-carb diet proves to be a powerful tool, transcending simple carbohydrate restriction. Each detailed benefit represents an intricate piece in the metabolic health puzzle. The importance of an individualized approach and professional monitoring is emphasized, ensuring not only short-term effectiveness but also long-term sustainability and safety. Explored to its fullest, the low-carb diet emerges as an invaluable ally in the pursuit of optimized metabolic health. In addition to the positive impacts on reducing blood sugar levels, the low-carb diet offers a variety of health benefits. Let's explore these benefits in various areas. 1. Appetite control. The low-carb diet, by prioritizing protein and fat-rich foods, contributes to a greater feeling of satiety. Proteins and fats have a more lasting effect on reducing hunger, facilitating appetite control and, consequently, aiding in weight management. 2. Sustainable weight loss. Weight loss on the low-carb diet results from reducing carbohydrate intake, leading to a decrease in available glucose for energy. This stimulates the body to use fat reserves as the main fuel source, promoting sustainable weight loss over time. 3. Improvement in lipid profiles. Studies indicate that the low-carb diet can result in improvements in lipid profiles, with a decrease in triglycerides and an increase in HDL cholesterol, considered beneficial for cardiovascular health. 4. Reduction of inflammation. By excluding refined carbohydrates and processed foods, the low-carb diet may reduce chronic inflammation in the body. Inflammation is associated with various health conditions, including heart diseases, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders. 5. Stability in energy levels. The shift to fat burning as the primary energy source in the low-carb diet provides a more stable and constant source of energy. This prevents fluctuations in glucose levels, promoting a sustained feeling of energy throughout the day. 6. Improvement in brain health. Entering ketosis, a metabolic state achieved in the low-carb diet, can have beneficial effects on the brain. Some studies suggest that ketosis can improve brain function, providing cognitive benefits, especially in conditions like epilepsy and Alzheimer's disease. 7. Reduction of visceral fat. Weight loss associated with the low-carb diet often includes a significant reduction in visceral fat, which is associated with a higher risk of metabolic and cardiovascular diseases. Reducing abdominal fat is crucial for overall health improvement. 8. Stabilization of glucose levels in diabetics. In addition to overall glycemic control, the low-carb diet can help stabilize glucose levels in diabetics. Carbohydrate restriction reduces the glycemic load, facilitating glucose control, especially in people with type 2 diabetes. 9. Increased fat oxidation during exercise. The low-carb diet may improve the body's ability to oxidize fats during exercise, beneficial for those involved in physical activities, especially endurance activities. 10. Improvement in skin health. The reduced consumption of processed foods and refined sugars in the low-carb diet can have positive effects on skin health. Reduced inflammation and the supply of essential nutrients contribute to healthier skin. 11. Control of metabolic syndrome. The low-carb diet has demonstrated positive impacts on factors associated with metabolic syndrome, such as abdominal obesity, high blood pressure, and imbalances in lipid and glucose levels. This reinforces its effectiveness in the overall management of metabolic health. 12. Potential role in chronic disease prevention. The low-carb diet, by addressing various risk factors, may play a preventive role in chronic diseases, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and certain types of cancer. Reducing the consumption of pro-inflammatory foods and promoting weight loss are key elements in this context. Each of these benefits highlights the breadth of positive impacts that the low-carb diet can have on health, going beyond simple glycemic control and offering a comprehensive approach to well-being. The transition to a low-carb diet can be done gradually and strategically to facilitate the body's adaptation and ensure long-term sustainability. Here are some ways to introduce the low-carb diet into your eating habits. 1. Prior knowledge. Before starting, it is essential to acquire knowledge about the low-carb diet, understanding which foods are allowed and which should be avoided. Consulting a healthcare professional or nutritionist can be beneficial for personalized guidance, especially if there are pre-existing medical conditions. 2. Gradual transition phase. Initiating the transition to the low-carb diet gradually can help the body adapt. Consider gradually reducing carbohydrate intake over a week or two, rather than making abrupt changes. 3. Smart substitutions. Substituting high-carb foods with low-carb alternatives can make the transition smoother. For example, swapping refined pasta and bread for whole grain versions or low-carb alternatives like vegetable noodles or almond bread. 4. Include vegetables in moderation. Vegetables are important sources of nutrients. When adopting the low-carb diet, opt for leafy greens, broccoli, spinach, zucchini, and cauliflower, which are lower in carbohydrates. 5. Increase protein intake. Increasing protein consumption can contribute to satiety and help maintain muscle mass during weight loss. Include lean protein sources such as chicken, fish, eggs, and tofu. 6. Include healthy fats. Incorporating sources of healthy fats, such as avocado, olive oil, nuts, and seeds, can provide satiety and energy, aiding in the adaptation to the new nutritional profile. 7. Meal planning. Planning meals in advance can help avoid impulsive food choices. Preparing low-carb snacks and meals in advance makes it easier to adhere to the new diet. 8. Adequate hydration. Drinking water is crucial. Sometimes, the feeling of hunger can be confused with dehydration. Staying hydrated is crucial for the proper functioning of the body. 9. Monitoring glucose levels. For people with diabetes, it is important to regularly monitor blood glucose levels during the transition to the low-carb diet. Adjustments to medication may be necessary under the guidance of a healthcare professional. 10. Attention to individual needs. Each person is unique, and the approach to the low-carb diet should take into account individual needs, food preferences, and health goals. A personalized meal plan can maximize the benefits. Always remember that when making significant changes to the diet, especially in cases of pre-existing medical conditions, it is advisable to seek guidance from a healthcare professional or nutritionist to ensure that the transition is safe and tailored to individual needs. There are several scientific studies highlighting the benefits of the low-carb diet for blood sugar control. Below, I mentioned some of these research studies. 1. Study, effects of a low-carbohydrate diet on hemoglobin A1C and fasting glucose in patients with type 2 diabetes. Authors, Westman E.C., Yancey W.S. Jr., Mavropoulos J.C., Marquardt M., McDuffie J.R. Publication, Nutrimetab, London. 2008 Dec 19, 5:36. Results, the study demonstrated that a low-carb diet led to significant improvements in hemoglobin A1C and fasting glucose levels in patients with type 2 diabetes compared to a standard low-fat diet. 2. Systematic review. Effects of low-carbohydrate diets on blood glucose and cardiovascular risk factors in individuals with type 2 diabetes. Authors: Snorgaard O., Poulsen GM, Anderson HK, Astrup A. Publication: Atherosclerosis. 2017 October, 265:125-134. Results: This systematic review indicated that low-carb diets are effective in reducing blood glucose and improving cardiovascular risk factors in individuals with type 2 diabetes. 3. Randomized controlled trial, comparison of low-carbohydrate and low-fat diets in overweight and obese individuals with type 2 diabetes. Authors: Saslow L.R., Kim S., Daubenmire J.J., Moskowitz J.T., Finney S.D., Goldman V., Murphy E.J., Cox R.M., Moran P., Hecht F.M. Publication: and Intern Med, 2014 Sep 2, 161, 5309-18. Results: In this study, participants with type 2 diabetes who followed a low-carb diet showed greater reductions in hemoglobin A1C and a higher rate of diabetes remission compared to those following a low-fat diet. 4. Meta-analysis, impact of low-carbohydrate diets on blood glucose in individuals with diabetes or prediabetes, review of randomized controlled trials. Authors: Snorgaard O., Poulsen GM, Anderson HK, Astrup A. Publication: Diabetologia. 2017 August, 60, 8-1301-1311. Results: This meta-analysis concluded that low-carb diets are effective in reducing blood glucose levels in individuals with diabetes or prediabetes, providing a viable option for glycemic control. 5. Long-term study, effects of a low-carbohydrate versus a low-fat diet on hemoglobin A1C and other parameters in individuals with type 2 diabetes. Authors: Tay J., Luscombe Marsh N.D., Thompson C.H., Noakes M., Buckley J.D., Wittert G.A., Yancey W.S. Jr., Brinkworth G.D. Publication: Nutrimetab Cardiovasc Dis. 2015 August, 25, 8-721-6. Results: This long-term study showed that a low-carb diet resulted in sustained reductions in hemoglobin A1C and other parameters related to type 2 diabetes compared to a low-fat diet. These studies consistently indicate that the low-carb diet can be an effective tool in blood sugar control, especially in individuals with type 2 diabetes. However, it is always advisable to seek medical guidance before making significant changes to the diet, especially for individuals with pre-existing